Hell's Paradise is a dark story that's equal parts wholesome, hype, or just straight up weird in some moments, but that all adds up to the charm that just makes you want to keep reading. Not to say some authors don't like the works that they produce, maybe except the Spy Family mangaka, but reading this shows you the love and respect for the characters, the world, and the plot, so nothing gets in the way of the other. It's a manga that can at times challenge your mind in addition to being an action story. There are characters that define the term moral ambiguity just by existing, and that adds to the immersion I feel as a reader because it made me wonder what I would have done. Hell's Paradise doesn't shy away from character moments, fights, or exposition, but the thing that kinda makes it amazing is the timing. Sometimes, you can smell exposition coming from a mile away from most stories when there's a character whose goal is just to explain things to the people involved who already know what's happening, but when we get hit with the exposition in this story, it's at a time where we as the readers need it most. We needed to know what was going on, and so did the characters in the story. However, it doesn't just use it as an opportunity to just spill everything and end up backtracking halfway through. We get bits and pieces of information that's important, but we are left wanting more so we can get the full picture. We just get the tip.
Yeah, boy.
Now if you haven't read the story at all, it's about Gabimaru the Hollow, who had to be executed because he couldn't be killed by the methods they tried. So his executioner offers him a chance to be pardoned of all crimes by the Shogun if he finds the elixir of life on some crazy island. A premise like this is intriguing on so many levels, but it also makes you ask, is the Shogun stupid? Why would he trust convicts with an immortality elixir? The story, however, initially gave me some Hunter x Hunter Dark Continent vibes with how insane everything was and how insane everything could be. We have people going onto a random island to bring back something that may not exist, and when they finally get there, we realize why no one was coming back alive. It's because the island looked normal with a lot of vegetation till you actually look closely and you see that in each vine there's a human body, or that even the bugs have human faces. It's a kind of world that makes you want to see into the mind of the person who is able to envision it because it's both intriguing and disturbing. But the intrigue is more overpowering, so as readers we follow the characters as they get on the island and realize that no one really knows what to do, and it doesn't help that the island is immediately trying to get rid of them. Hell's Paradise is a story that came in, did what it wanted to do, and dipped. Sometimes you can tell a show suffers from trying to do too much or introduce too many elements that end up being buried, but there was one goal in Hell's Paradise, the characters reached it, and the show left a great impression on all the readers. Yeah, the author kept introducing new characters, but they were not introduced to milk the story, they were introduced to flesh it out. Despite the fact that it's so contained, one thing that I love about the story, especially towards the climax, would be the fluctuation in the events. Let me explain. When a story is getting towards the climax, you can usually predict how things would go. But this story twisted that a bit by bringing in a morally ambiguous character whose actions could not be predicted, at least by me, all the way to the end. I think that's what makes the manga really benefit from being only about 127 chapters, and the fact that it didn't suffer from the curse of shonen, which is power escalation. The character I'm talking about that came to mess everyone up in the climax was not even the highlight of the great characters in this manga. Each character that's involved in this expedition has their own reasons and motivation, and this story brings to life one of the best casts to exist. Yeah, I said it. All the different characters have different personalities that they are unbound by, and they blend well with each other. No side character is stagnant or useless, so to speak, and watching characters that were once executioner and convicts develop into an amazing set of people is something that I really wasn't expecting at all. I expected them to become close, of course, but I didn't expect to care as much as I did. This might be the best treatment of female characters I've seen in a while, like Sagiri and Yuzuri are some of the best developed female characters in the magazine. They're not written to be great female characters, they're just written to be great characters. That's great because it doesn't make the story dependent on just one character carrying the show, anyone can. And it also doesn't matter how much screen time they had, anyone can be put in the lead and become interesting to follow because their beliefs and morality will be challenged in some way. And as a battle shonen, it had a lot of hype moments that didn't really need to rely on action. Some amazing scenes just rely on character decisions and words. The characters even realize in the story that the island has changed them and they're able to accept who they are now. I'd like to credit that development to the antagonists. The antagonists are mainly responsible for that change, and they're all not one note, and their experience in the past makes their reasoning logical. Same goes for the main bad guy in the show. Even though most of the conflict is due to their actions, at some point you can blame both sides for causing it. You can clearly tell that the antagonists have a sense of morality, but the events on the island tend to challenge even them. It's not always that a story's power system mirrors one of the main themes of the story, but it does in this case. The power system emphasizes the harmony and dissonance with elements from early on, but, and I mean this for real, it did not forget how important it was by the end. This isn't to say the story is perfect, but it's a good 9-ish out of 10. Now I want to do a quick 180 and try to see where the anime went wrong, or at least why it doesn't seem to be hidden the way I assumed it would. Now I'm recording this way after the manga one, and even after watching the anime I still don't know what is inherently wrong with it. Maybe anime fans have been eating too good lately. This honestly feels like a first world problem. Maybe we expect MAPPA to bust their asses and have directors with even less sleep because the Hell's Paradise anime is not bad. Or is that the problem? Is the problem that it's not the best there is? Maybe I can see some merit in that. When you see the best that someone can do, it's in our nature to always want to see that best, but there's always other factors that go into stuff like that. Because we know how amazing the JJK and Chainsaw Man adaptations were, it seems like the same level was expected of Hell's Paradise, which it didn't seem to get, but to make it feel like Record of Ragnarok is kinda sad. Anyway, I've been sitting on this video for too long, and I'm glad to finally have it out. Please sub to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.